This is your captain speaking, and this is going to be my first video in a series of touring the U.S. And for today's flight, we're going to be flying from Bangor, Maine down to Boston, Massachusetts into Logan International Airport. And we've got it set, got some real world weather going on here. And the aircraft that we're going to be using for this series is going to differ depending on where we're going, and you know, the restrictions of the airports that we may or may not be flying into. For this flight in particular, we're going to travel with a little bit of class. We're going to go with the Learjet 45, baby. Yeah, got some nice cushy leather seats, maybe some television. You know, cocktail stewardess there serving up, you know, some, you know, whiskey or gin and tonics or whatever you might, or maybe just a simple Coke, who knows, you know. But it's going to just be a fun, relaxing flight. That's the goal of this here. And I'm going to pull up some of our runway, you know, our airport information. While I do that, I'm just going to pause. Yeah, okay, it's paused for right now. And we'll take a look at Bangor. And we just have the one runway right here, and I'll pull this up and zoom in here. So we've got runway 15. We also have runway 33, and we're parked somewhere right over in here. And you know, we'll get onto taxiway Alpha, one of these ways, and head either down to 15 or 33, depending on what they want us to do. And we can take a look at, I love Sky Vector, it's such a cool thing. So we have an 11,000 foot runway, so we have more than you know, ample room. I mean, it's over 2 miles to make, you know, our takeoff. So that's why we're going to use the Learjet, and of course Boston would obviously be able to accommodate this. And we have multiple runways. My suspicion, I've done this flight a couple of times unsuccessfully due to ATC and their stupidity. So hopefully we won't have any issues with that. But has been coming in here at runway 15 right. And you know, we'll see how that pans out. Obviously 15 left is nowhere near long enough for us. So we'll probably be coming in on 15 right, would be my guess. That's how it's been for the past couple of times that I've been coming in to Boston from Bangor. Again, hopefully, fingers crossed, air traffic control won't screw up. I was literally recording this one earlier, and I was on approach and literally had an MD-80. Literally, it was like I felt like a fighter pilot intercept me. It like flew directly in front of me and like cut me off. And of course, you know, ATC, you know, there are definitely issues with ATC in this game. Some of them are quite comical. I wish I had actually saved that one, because it just would have been funny. Maybe I should start doing that and make like a fail compilation of like air traffic control and the computer AI. To try and counteract that issue, I have turned down the aircraft density. See, you know, does that help at all? Do I still get the realism of flying with other aircraft enough, but without the obnoxiousness of like being literally cut off or rammed from behind by other aircraft? So, you know, we'll see how that all kind of plays out. But anyways, so if you're not familiar, I've said it in my videos, Sky Vector, love this website. You can plan, you know, great. You can plan VOR trips, going from one airport to another. You get all the information that you would ever need, and a lot of it I still don't even understand. You know, I'm not a pilot in real life. This is something I just do for fun. I enjoy simulation type games. So, without further ado, let's kind of get into this. So here we are in our Learjet, and we'll unpause this. And one of the first things we're going to do is we need some electrical power going on here. And we can tune in and get our weather report. So we've got the ATIS report Oscar. Okay. All right, so we're going runway 33.
Our aircraft is direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Oscar.
Okay. Well, let's request our...
Bangor, clearance delivery. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881. Ready to copy IFR clearance to Boston. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881 is cleared to Boston Airport. As filed, fly runway heading. Climb and maintain 14,000. Departure frequency is 124.5. Squawk 0426.
Okay.
Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881. Cleared to Boston Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 14,000. Departure on 124.5. Squawk 0426. Bombardier 881. Readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.9 when ready to taxi.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that in just a minute. So let's, for the sake of argument, say that we've got everybody loaded up. So we'll close our doors. Here we go. And we'll just do a quick cursory. There is nobody behind us, so we'll do a pushback. Ooh, we get the little cart to push us back. How nice. So runway 33, so we're going to head off this way here.
Bangor clearance delivery. Bombardier, November 940 Whiskey, ready to copy. IFR clearance to Napa.
Bombardier, November 940 Whiskey is cleared to Napa Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 6,000. Departure frequency is 124.5. Squawk 6766.
Bombardier, November 940 Whiskey, cleared to Napa Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain 6,000. Departure on 124.5. Squawk 6766.
Turn the engines on here.
Bombardier 40 Whiskey. Readback correct. Contact ground on 121.9.
We did turn on our strobe lights and everything, our recognition lights, to let people know, hey, we're starting up our engines. And while we're doing that,
Bangor ground. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881 with Oscar. Ready to taxi IFR. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881. Taxi to and hold short of runway 33 via taxiway Kilo, Alpha. Contact tower on 120.7 when ready. Taxiing hold short runway 33 using taxiway Kilo, Alpha. Bombardier 881.
okay, so if we were, so you can see here we are. I'll pull this up a little bit. So this is where we are. Pause this for a minute. And you can use progressive taxi, and I'm working to not do that anymore. But I do know that this is, we're coming down to runway 33, as was said right here. And Kilo is going to be, I'm assuming, this one right here. But we can always just double check that right over here. Yep. So we're literally parked right here. So we're just going to come down here and just go right down through here to runway 33. Again, love Sky Vector. Okay, so we are right here. Here's Kilo, and we'll take a left onto Alpha and follow Alpha all the way down to runway 33. We'll hold right here, ask for our takeoff clearance, and then away we go. So let's go ahead and unpause this. Let's check our engines. Engines look stabilized enough. We can start our taxi. Kind of move my gear around a little bit here. And we'll head down this way. this should be not too long of a taxi, so I'm not going to bother cutting the video for you. Looks like we just got a couple of clouds in the sky. Should be a good flight. And you can see the taxiway markings up ahead. So when the letter is in black, that means that you're actually on that taxiway or that street. And the arrows, so you can see we're going to turn onto Kilo right here, and then we're going to take a left onto Alpha. And Alpha goes both left and right, but we want to head to runway 33, which is down to our left. So Kilo is a very short taxiway right here, and we're just going to take a left right onto Alpha, as was what we were told. And there we go. And so we're just going to take Alpha Street, if you will, all the way down to runway 33. We'll do some final checks before we request our takeoff. We'll make sure we've got our flaps down. We'll make sure we've got the passenger seatbelt sign on, landing lights, make sure our trim is set. I do have it set to 1, which should be fine. And I've got the speed set, I've got the altitude set, so we should be fine. And then we'll just take off, and then eventually they'll have us fly our GPS course. And but yeah, I mean, can't complain about the day. It's a beautiful day out, and we're almost. There's a taxiway Juliet, which would be either to the left or to the right here. I'm just going to climb right past that. Oh, there's the aircraft that had, I guess, requested. Looks like another Learjet. Yep, another Learjet 45. They're just getting into position. They haven't gotten the clearance yet. They're going to, so we'll be taking off right after them. Looks like you're getting ready to turn onto the runway here. Yep. So 2 luxury jets.
Bangor Tower, Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet 7881, ready for IFR departure, runway 33. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet 7881, hold short, runway 33. Traffic is Bombardier, Learjet onto runway. Hold short, runway 33. Bombardier 881. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet 7881, taxi into position and hold. Position and hold, Bombardier 881. Bombardier 40 Whiskey. Contact Bangor departure on 124.5.
Going to 124.5 on the Dare 40 Whiskey.
Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet 7881, cleared for takeoff. Runway 33.
And we'll acknowledge
Cleared
that.
for takeoff. Runway 33.
Everything has been
Bombardier,
set.
Kilo, Juliet 7881.
Spool up the engines here. rotate.
Bombardier 881, contact Bangor departure on 124.5. 124.5, Bombardier 881. Bangor departure, Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 is at 1,300, climbing 14,000. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881, Bangor departure, roger, altimeter 2992. Bombardier 881, turn left heading 325, proceed on course, climb and maintain 14,000. Bombardier 40 Whiskey, climb and maintain 12,000.
Climb and maintain 12,000. Bombardier 40 Whiskey.
Turn left heading 325, resume on navigation, climb and maintain 14,000. Bombardier 881. Bombardier 40 Whiskey,
Pull the flaps up.
contact Bangor departure on 125.3.
Going to 125.3. Bombardier 40 Whiskey.
Piper 53 Lima, contact Boston Centers on 124.25.
Going to 124.25. Piper 53 Lima.
Bangor approach, orbit 8273 with you 3000. Orbit 8273, Bangor approach, roger, altimeter 2992.
So we are. They did tell us to resume our navigation once we turn there. So.
Bombardier 881, turn left heading 210. Turn left heading 210. Bombardier 881.
I just want to make sure that we don't go above the 250 until we pass the 10,000.
6,500 to 2,200. Orbit 9024. Bangor approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992. Orbit 9024. Turn left heading 060. Turn left heading 060. Orbit 9024.
Everything is looking good.
Orbit 8273. You are 21 miles southeast. Turn left heading 360. Descend and maintain 2,200. Clear ILS. Runway 33. Approach. Maintain 2,200 until established on the localizer. Contact Bangor Tower on 120.7.
All
Turn
right.
left heading 360. Descend and maintain 2,200.
And then they're going to tell us to turn right and then proceed on course. That'll get us to our GPS nav course.
Until
So.
established. Tower on 120.7. Orbit 8273.
Just wait for it.
Bombardier 881.
There it is.
Turn right heading 245. Proceed on course. Turn right heading 245. Resume on navigation. Bombardier 881.
Go. And once we do that, we'll switch back over to GPS second time and let that guide us down towards the Boston area. And then we'll just have to do handoffs, you know, between now and then until we get the call for descent.
Bombardier 881. Contact Bangor departure on 125.3. 125.3 for Bombardier 881.
And we'll tune to there.
Boston Center, Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 is climbing
why that happened.
39,300.
There's a mess up with the radio.
Boston Center, Roger. Altimeter 299er2.
And we are now past that. We can turn the landing lights off.
On the dare 40 whiskey. Climb and maintain flight level 240.
We can increase our speed.
Climb and maintain flight level 240. On the dare 40 whiskey.
And we'll see on the throttle quadrant. Yep. Almost to our assigned altitude. Boy, what a nice day it is. Little Piper over there. I mean, nice clear skies. Should be pretty good. And we'll check our GPS. Just going to shorten this up a little bit here. And we're tracking right on course. And so we'll pull out real quick here and just take a look. So we kind of came off. And we've got a ways to go to get down there to Boston. We're not even a quarter of the way into the trip. So what I'm going to do is pick you guys up as we start to get closer to Boston and start making our descent down into Logan International. As you can see, though, we're just going to fly pretty much along the east coast of the Atlantic Ocean right here. And I mean, it looks like we have a pretty smooth ride as well. I'm noticing little to no turbulence whatsoever. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign. So we're almost at our altitude. Nothing's a problem there. And I'll pick you guys back up once we start making our descent down into Boston Logan. Welcome back. We are just about 60 miles out from Boston.
On the dare 881. Descend and maintain.
And here we go.
4000.
We are getting ready to make our descent.
Bombardier 881.
Turn our speed down here. And we are going to apply our speed brakes here to help slow us down. Or spoilers, I should say. And we are coming in, as I had said earlier, on runway 15 right. I do have the ILS frequency dialed in, 110.7. So, and increase our rate of descent just a little bit. But wow, look at the ocean out there. It's just beautiful. You know, for as old as a game as this is, and granted, it's, you know, probably not as optimized as, you know, it could be. It still does a pretty good job. Now I do have the Rex textures installed as well. Which does help a lot, particularly with the atmospheric conditions and the water. I mean, that just looks very realistic. You know, the only gripe I have with this, and I've said it in previous videos, is the fact that it is a 32-bit application and it can't take advantage of all of my system RAM that I have, which I have 16 gigs on this computer. So it's bound by that 4 gig limitation as a 32-bit application. So when you start getting into a lot of these, you know, top of sim add-ons and stuff, I ran into failure to loads. I ran out of memory issues because it could not load all of the necessary information at once. And thankfully, Steam refunded me on that. But I wish that Steam would post on their page that this is a 32-bit application, especially for something that has, 200 plus add-ons between lighting effects and texture edits, aircraft, this, that, and the other thing. When you're 32-bit bound and you can only utilize 4 gigs of RAM, in today's day and age, obviously everything is a 64-bit application to utilize. The number is, I'd have to calculate off the top of my head. It's, close to, in the billions, if not trillions of gigs of RAM that you could use in 64-bit. I mean, just look at the difference between 2 to the 32nd power and 2 to the 64th power. It's just massive. We won't see a 128-bit application anytime soon because the amount of RAM there's no point. There's just no point. Where are we? I wasn't paying attention. I should have turned the seatbelt sign on. That's okay. There we go. Yeah, we have our airspeed down where it needs to be. So, yeah, it's not like the FAA is going to write me up for that or something. I am excited for some of these other simulations. I know Flight Sim World, which is apparently a 64-bit version of FSX. It's in early access right now on Steam. My computer is a little bit too old to handle that right now, although I am intrigued by it. The other sim that I'm interested in, again, I need to upgrade my computer to be able to run it properly, would be X-Plane 11. That's got a lot of positive reviews as well. So, but for the time being, FSX has been really, really good for me. I really enjoy it. So, and I wish to, given as old as the game is that the add-on aircraft, you can wait for a Steam sale, but the game is so old. Why is it still $30 or $40 for some of these aircraft? It's just insane to me. I would like to get the Airsoft Airbus package, but it's like $30 or $40. It's insane. Even with a Steam sale, bringing it down to $25. I'm like, this game is so old. We should be able to, have that for $10, not $20 or $30.
Boston approach, Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881, with you. Bombardier, Kilo, Juliet, 7881, Boston approach, roger.
There we go. Here's Boston's Class B airspace that we're getting into. But that's just me. And, simulations they run a lot different than other traditional modern games. And the fact of, the resources that they utilize. Graphics are important, but really a lot of it is also your CPU and the draw distances that you're looking at. The fact that we're drawing out, 10, 20, 30 miles, that takes a lot of processing power and a lot of memory, which again, this game is bound, in its memory limitations because of the 32-bit status of the application. So, these more modern flight sims, they look great and all this other stuff, but unless you have a decently powered rig, even gaming it at 1080p, you're not going to get a smooth frame rate. X-Plane 11, I did download the demo for it, which if you're interested, you can download a demo of X-Plane 11, which I think more PC games, especially games like this, need to be doing to just let people say, hey, can this run? And instead of having to go through the whole Steam, refund process, which isn't bad, but I fear that Steam could start pegging you. I don't know if they do this or not, as like somebody who buys and returns and buys and returns. Even though the window of when you can return a game is very small, you know, do they start blacklisting you? I don't know. That's just a theory I have out there. But it's nice to be able to, for me, like I downloaded X-Plane 11, but even on low settings, now I'm running off a gaming laptop which is over 5 years old, and it's still running most games fine, but you know, something like X-Plane 11, it just can't handle it, and I couldn't even get a steady 30 FPS with the settings turned all the way down, and even lowering the resolution. I mean, at bare minimum, I'd want to be at 1080p. You know, contrast that to other games like Diablo 3 or StarCraft and whatever. I can run those on max settings and still get, you know, 50, 60 FPS on my gaming laptop. And granted, those games are older and such, but still, you know, so, you know, try out, you know, these other simulations if you can. I would not at this point recommend P3D simply because of the sheer cost of it. It's just insane. It's like $200 for the standard license, and aircraft that you would get for I don't even know how add-ons work with that, but I know it is. But I'm pretty sure that the add-ons are insanely expensive too. You could easily dump $500 to $1,000 in that game just to get it to look and fly and do everything that you want it to do. And yet, some people are saying X-Plane 11 has better realism settings than P3D. So, you know, you can be the judge. But at least with X-Plane, because it's on Steam, you can try, and you can go to the X-Plane 11's website and you can download the demo and try it and see how it runs on your system before you decide to buy it. And Flight Sim World, again, early access. I think they were wanting like 20 or 25 bucks for it. Oh, I got 240. Where was I? Yeah, Flight Sim World, it's like they're 25 bucks for like an early access game, but it's obviously not complete, and all they have are single and twin engine props. They have no jet airliners or jet aircraft for that matter included in that early access. So, you know, to me, and again, I don't even know how the system requirements, I think, are more than what my PC would hold right now anyways. So that's a game I probably would hold off on. But if I had a new computer, you know, with, you know, something like a 1060 or 1070 graphics card and a you know, 7th generation, you know, Core i7 processor and 8 to 16 gigs of RAM, I'd probably download and purchase X-Plane 11 and replace it with this. That's just me. But until such time as that happens, I'm stuck with FSX, which, all things being said, I'm really enjoying. So where are we at? Okay, so we're getting really close. I'm going to drop our airspeed here. Drop it down. About 200. There's a little bit of flaps here.
Beach 5 to Papa, turn right heading 055.
Turn right heading 055, Beach 5 to Papa.
There we go. Well, we're going to be getting our clearance in just a little bit. I mean, we are now in the Class B airspace. Oops. And this is where we're coming in onto this right here. So, I mean, everything's looking good. And we'll get a call to turn in just a minute. And turn left, probably to 17. 170 or something along those lines.
Bombardier 881, you are 18 miles northwest. Turn left heading 185, descend and maintain 1,700. Clear ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Maintain 1,700 until established on the localizer. Contact Austin Tower on 128.8. Turn left heading 185, descend and maintain 1,700. Cleared ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Maintain 1,700 until established. Tower on 128.8. Bombardier 881. Boston Tower. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 is 17 miles northwest. Inbound ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 Boston Tower. Fly straight in. Runway 15 right. Altimeter 2992. Fly straight in.
That.
Runway 15 right. Bombardier 881.
Let's see if we're picking up. Yep, there we go. So we'll set the approach for the autopilot. Drop our flaps just a little bit. There we go. There's Boston. Starting to make our turn in. Airport is right over here. Do see here that we have the ILS dialed in right here. We are getting lined up, and soon we'll start seeing that intercept, and the glide slope will start to come down. That usually happens right when you're crossing into this threshold here if you're looking at your GPS. But altitude is holding fine. We have flaps down. All of our lights are good, and about halfway through the descent on the glide slope, I'll put the gear down and we'll start making our final descent right now into Logan International, and hopefully everything goes smoothly and I don't get cut off by an aircraft this time.
Orbit 4402 at runway 15 right, ready for takeoff. IFR to Jaeger. Orbit 4402. Short, runway 15 right. Traffic is Cessna Skyhawk on final.
Ugh, there's a Cessna on
Short,
final.
runway 15 right. Orbit 4402.
We may have a go around here. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have a go around, I can already tell. Yeah, well, it's not going to happen.
Cleared to land, runway 15 right, Bombardier 881.
I'm going to go ahead and just consult the charts here. Let's see. Missed approach. Climb to 3,000 on the Boston VOR. Huh. Because I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to land, because that Cessna is not going to land and get off the runway in time for us to do that. Well, let's take a look. Okay, Boston VOR 112.7. So I'm going to actually... There we go. Just in case. And then we'll worry about all of that when it happens, because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. I mean, we're passing the Cessna Skyhawk, unless he's going the other way. Wait, what are you doing? No. Let's see what happens. Because if that was the Cessna that was trying to land, he was way off course. Let's see if we get a wave off here.
Bombardier 881, go around.
Okay. See, I knew that was going to happen. All right. Because I'm only one person, we're just going to set the altitude of the hold. We're going to climb to 3,000. Speed, we're going to jack back up to 220. And tune into that. For right now, we'll go back over to here.
Too low.
Bombardier 881, did you copy? Going around. Bombardier 881. Bombardier 881, contact Boston approach on 118.25. Going to 118.25. Bombardier 881. 118.25. Boston approach. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881. Flying at Boston. ILS. Runway 15. Right published. Missed approach.
Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881. Roger. Flight published. Missed approach. Advise reaching 3000 for further instructions. less than 1 mile, 6,500. Cessna Caravan, report them in sight. Landmark 524, traffic alert, 9 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 6,500. Cessna Skyhawk, report them in sight. Landmark 524, have the traffic.
Cessna 195, have the traffic. Boston approach, Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881, published missed approach, ILS, runway 15, right at 3000.
Bombardier 881, you are 6 miles southeast, turn left heading 355, climb and maintain 3000, expect vectors ILS, runway 15, right approach.
Turn left heading 355, climb and maintain 3000, expect vectors ILS, runway 15, right approach, Bombardier 881.
Yep, there it is. Just as I had suspected. That Cessna was way off to the right. I don't know.
Bombardier 881.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
325.
Turn left heading 325, Bombardier 881.
Ocean is pretty though. Ah, that's super annoying. So it looks like we're just gonna follow left traffic pattern. Come around and see if we can't make this landing happen again.
Contact Boston
But
departure on 124.4.
hey, at least we I think we did everything by the books. And so we'll circle around. We're going to come back in the same runway, so we're going to come off this way, down here, and come back around. And hopefully we will actually get to land this time. You know, that would be nice. Yeah, you always will find that your FPS drops a little bit when you get closer to the ground, and in particular closer to bigger airports and city areas like Boston. It's just kind of a thing you have to deal with. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, we were on a perfect approach, but they should have waved us off a lot sooner. Again, that goes to the, you know, AI of FSX, but at least we didn't collide with the Cessna, because if I had seen that we were going to collide with them, I would have, you know, obviously taken over and moved this out of the way and just declared a missed approach. You know, but
contact Boston departure on 124.4.
Going to 124.
ooh, look, you can see the moon in the upper left corner, right up here. I've never noticed that before. That's a pretty cool touch to add. But yeah, there's the airport. We're flying parallel to it right now.
Bombardier 881. Traffic is 9 o'clock, 4 miles at 0. Boeing MD-80.
Yep, they're talking about this aircraft that literally just took off. So yes, I do have
Bombardier
that right here.
881, have the Boeing MD-80.
So that was where we were supposed to land.
Bombardier 881. Turn right heading 355.
Turn right heading 355, Bombardier 881. Boston departure, Pacifica 5355 is at 1,300, climbing 12,000.
Pacifica 5355. Boston departure, roger. Altimeter.
Well, this turned out to be a longer flight, but at least had a little bit of excitement to it. So
Turn right heading 300. Stay on course. Climb and maintain 12,000.
that's at least looking at the glass half full.
Turn right heading 300.
Of course, I'm a chemist by trade, so the glass is always 100% full because it's half filled with water and half filled with air. So, you know, you can always be optimistic if you look at things from the view of a chemist.
Bombardier 881. Traffic is 7 o'clock, 4 miles at 100. Boeing 737. Report them in sight.
Bombardier 881, traffic in sight.
I don't know if I can see it.
Departure Pacifica 708 is at 800, climbing 12,000.
Pacifica 5355. Turn right heading
There it is.
Bombardier 881. Contact Boston. Approach on 124.4. Pacifica 708. Boston. Departure. Roger. Altimeter 2992. Pacifica 708. Turn right heading 230. Resume all navigation. Climb and maintain 12000.
124.4 for Bombardier 881. Boston approach. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 with you 3000. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 Boston approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992.
We're still in the Class B airspace. We'll start making a left turn shortly.
Boston approach. Piper November 7072. Mike, request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Piper November 7072 Mike Boston approach cleared through the Bravo airspace.
You better not hit me.
Bravo airspace. Piper 72 Mike.
You can see the frame rate's jumped up a little bit just because we're now not drawing all that terrain that's behind us with the city and the airport and the traffic and everything. We should be getting called to make a left turn and then tune back into the tower. This has been and it happens when you come into these busy airports in FSX. I don't know if this is real life, but they do a poor job at managing aircraft landing, and it is one of the things if I had to say I dislike about it, it's just how the ATC manages that. You know, we should not have been. We're a bigger, faster aircraft, in my opinion. We shouldn't have been told to turn in so early, and knowing that we're going to overtake a Cessna that's traveling 80 knots. So when I have to travel at 140, like a bare minimum, and I'm going to pass, that's exactly what happened. We passed him on his left side. You know, I would have rather been put into like a hold pattern, and then make my approach in. That's just me. You know, I don't know how far out they're going to take us out to the edge of the Bravo airspace. So we'll see when they start telling us that we can make our descent and our turn in, and this time, hopefully, we can land.
Boston approach. Orbit 1941 visit 7,400. Descending 1,700. Orbit 1941 Boston approach. Roger. Altimeter 2992.
We need to be making a left turn soon, in my opinion. But what do I know? Don't see anything out of the left window, nothing out of the right window.
Orbit 1941, turn right heading 055. Turn right heading 055. Orbit 1941. Boston departure. Cessna November 46728 is type Cessna Skyhawk 3 miles southwest of Everly. Request flight following. Cessna November 46728 Boston departure. Squawk 0141. Squawk 0141. Cessna 728. Cessna 728 radar contact 4 miles southwest of Everly 2500. Altimeter 2992. Copy. Cessna 728.
We've left Bravo airspace.
Departure. Cessna November 46728. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace. Cessna November 46728. Boston departure cleared through the Bravo airspace. cleared through Bravo airspace. Cessna 7.
It's like, did they forget about us?
Bombardier 881.
There we go. Finally.
Left heading 270. Turn left heading 270. Bombardier 881.
There's my left turn I've been waiting for. Pull this out on the...
Cessna 728. Contact Boston. Approach on 118.25. 118.25. Cessna 728.
Okay.
Boston approach. World
So they did
travel
not
port
forget about us.
101,
They just really wanted us to...
Port 5000. World travel port 101. Boston approach. Roger. Altimeter 29902. Orbit 19041. You are 21 miles west. Turn right heading 120. Descend and maintain 1,700. Cleared ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Maintain 1,700 until established on the localizer. Contact Boston Tower on 128.8. Bombardier 881. Turn left heading 240. Turn left heading 240. Bombardier 881. Bombardier 881. Contact Boston. Approach on 124.9. World travel port 101. Turn left heading 090. 124.9. Bombardier 881. Boston approach. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 with you.
Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881. Boston approach. Roger. Altimeter 29902. Beach 592. Traffic is 7 o'clock. 4 miles at 6,500. Mall M7. Report them in sight. Mall 582. Traffic is 1 o'clock. 4 miles at 2,700. Beach Mirren. Report them in sight. Mall 582. Have the Beach Mirren in sight. Mall 582. Traffic is 3 o'clock. 3 miles at 2,800. The Havilland -8. Report them in sight.
Okay, so we're going to come up here and take another left in.
592. Traffic in sight. Boston departure. Orbit 33902 is climbing through 3,500 for 6,000.
Mall 582. Traffic in sight. Orbit 33902.
Just taking a look, I thought I heard another aircraft.
Resume on navigation. Climb and maintain
Just
6,000.
wanted to make sure.
881. You are 27 miles northwest. Turn left heading 180. Descend and maintain 1,700. Cleared ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Maintain 1,700 until established on the localizer. Contact Boston Tower on 128.8.
Turn left heading 180. Descend and maintain 1,700. Cleared ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Maintain 1,700 until established. Tower on 128.8. Bombardier 881.
Orbit 33.
Boston Tower. Bombardier Kilo Juliet 7881 is 26 miles northwest. Boston Tower. Orbit 1941 is 9 miles northwest.
Still can't pick up the
Inbound
localizer.
ILS, runway 15 right approach. Orbit 1941 Boston Tower. Fly straight in, runway 15 right. Altimeter 2992. Make straight in, runway 15 right. Orbit 1941.
I'm looking for that localizer to pick up, but it's not. No.
Orbit 1941 cleared to land, runway 15 right. Cleared to land, runway 15 right. Orbit 1941.
They better not make us do another go around. There it is. Okay. Now we've got our glide slope. Arm the auto spoilers. And there's Boston again. I swear if they make me do another go around, I'm just gonna give up. That's not, please tell me that's not the aircraft. I think we're gonna have another go around. Yeah, I know you want the gear down.
Orbit 1941, exit runway when able. Boston Tower, world travel board 101 is 7 miles northwest inbound ILS. Runway 15 right approach. Orbit 1941, contact ground on 121.75. World travel board 101, Boston Tower, make straight in, runway 15 right, altimeter 2992. World travel board 101, cleared to land, runway 15 right. Cleared to land, runway 15 right. World travel board 101.
Yeah, unless
121.75 for orbit 1941.
trying to slow ourselves down, give them time to land.
Boston Tower, world travel 98446 is 28 miles northwest inbound ILS, runway 15 right approach.
World travel 98446 to Boston Tower, fly straight in, runway 15 right, altimeter 2992.
Fly straight in, runway 15 right, world travel 98446.
watching very intently on this. And here comes, we're intercepting the glide slope, it's coming down. Gear down. And locked. Flaps down.
Bombardier 881 cleared to land. Runway 15 right. Follow Boeing 737 on short final. Cleared to land. Runway 15 right. Bombardier
We'll see how well this works.
World Travel Ward 101. Exit runway when able.
Oh. Does that mean he landed?
World Travel Ward 101. Contact ground on 121.75. 121.75. World Travel Ward 101.
Can we actually land this time? Got a good glide slope. It's always hard to judge if we are lined up nicely on the runway or not. But we'll see. I think we are. Everything looks good. Yep, we got a good line coming in on the runway. Looks perfect.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
The ILS had us coming in very awkwardly on that.
Bombardier 881. Exit runway when able.
Wow. Well, that was exciting. Thought everything was looking good, but boy, we had to do some correction. I should have done corrections earlier on that one. I will admit that. I don't know what was up with that. I mean, but you can see, like, the ILS had us, it's, even though it said it was lined up, we were definitely not lined up. But managed to get there. Holy cow. That was exciting. Didn't really get a good view of that landing on too much, but whew. Well, that was an eventful flight. Much more so than I had anticipated it being. So I hope you enjoyed the flight. And this turned out a lot longer, but we did make it safely into Logan International from Bangor. And leave some comments below if there's some things I can do to improve that ILS approach landing. Maybe it's something else that I'm missing, but yeah, I had to make that final correction. I just did not want to do another go around, and we didn't hit anything. We did land on the runway. We didn't clip anything because I do have the detections on for crashing and everything. So yeah, a little bit more of an eventful flight than I would have liked. But stay tuned for our next episode when we take on the next leg of the tour of the U.S. Until then, this is your captain signing off.